How's it going, everybody? Okay. Starcraft 2, balance patch. The balance patch is getting patched, reworked, you could say. Big controversial patch just came out for Starcraft 2. It's currently in the PTR, but we now just got an updated version with changes being reverted. I'm not sure if any new changes are being added actually, but they're just reverting a few things which didn't make any sense. So let's get right into it. Battery overcharge removal, they're basically saying, yeah, we're liking the change so far. The battery overcharge will be removed still, and the new spell has seen some good uses. Pro players are fine with it, like it seems to work very well, which is kind of what I predicted, right? There's going to be a few units you can warp in and automatically give back some energy to. 100 energy is kind of a lot, right? 100 energy is like 2 force field with a sentry, it's 2 storms, it's like whatever. You can do a bunch of stuff with it. Cyclone. Cyclone is actually, this is like a new change, you could say. The Cyclone is going back from, well, I guess, to what it was on release, which is a unit that requires a tech lab to build, same price as a tank, much slower build time, but also a much stronger unit, right? They recently decided to try it out, make it a new unit, a lot cheaper. Doesn't require tech lab to build, so you can go into battle mech easier. But it also means Terran early pressure was a lot stronger, and this is hopefully going to allow Protoss early game to have a bit more stability because it will be easier to defend. So pretty good change, really interesting to see. This will also mean that as Terran, going for like 1 Cyclone, 1 Medevac for Marines is a lot stronger, and also when defending against proxies such as like Proxy Void Ray or whatever, getting that first Cyclone out will hopefully be more of a power spike. Next up, Gate, just Stalker training time reduction. Okay, sure. Okay, Stalker takes 3 seconds less to build. This will be huge for the economy. This will just mean so that the first Stalker that comes out while you're researching Warp Gate, realistically, will come out a bit faster, which will once again just help defend. Yeah, it says against Proxy 2 Verax Marauder. It just help the first units come out a bit faster. That's nice. Late game concerns, a ghost nerf! We got a ghost nerf! But okay, the only nerf is a supply cost increase, which will mean you can no longer get as many ghosts out before supply capping yourself, which will be a big nerf in Terran versus Zerg, where you want to get a bunch of ghosts out in the late game because you can use snipe on any unit. The EMP are very strong on the Infestors and the Vipers and the Queens. Also using nukes to harass around the map is very potent. So this will nerf in TVZ but won't affect TVP at all, pretty much, where you only get 1 or 2 ghosts to just EMP the entire army, get rid of the energy from the sentries, get rid of the energy for the High Templars, and just break the entire shields of all the units, right? So hopefully they kind of do something about that. Like Zerg, like TVP, sorry, is still a problem. The Ghost in TVP is still a problem. Hopefully they just, a big suggestion that has been made is transform the EMP into a projectile, something similar to the Corrosive Bile from the Infestor, just something you can react to and something you can split against, or just reduce the area of effect, or maybe like whatever. Just make it so there is some counterplay. Maybe like whatever. Just make something you can have counterplay against it, because like currently in TVP, Ghosts are currently still 2OP. Mothership can no longer be targeted by Abduct, which is just like now, because it's considered a colossal unit, you can no longer abduct it, which is nice because they made the Mothership a more potent combat unit. They made the Mothership be able to target 4 units at once, and more expensive and more supply heavy. Like they say it right here, 408 supply, as opposed to the 306 supply it is currently, which will just, it makes it so you can't just kind of snipe the Mothership as easily. It's no longer this kind of unit that's just there to tank a big volley or just be like kind of a meat shield for your army. Yeah, it has useful spells, but now it's meant to be more of a combat unit, so that's a nice change. Ultralisk, bonus move speed reduction on the bonus move speed research. Okay, now that they kind of don't get stuck anymore, they have more intelligent pathing, they kind of like brute force, they push units around basically. Because they have an easier time reaching their destination, they're reducing its speed to kind of compensate for it, which I feel is going to be a nice change because it's kind of a jump scare to have Ultra just pushing an entire army into your main base type beat. Okay, Broodlord changes straight up removed. They consider the Broodlord changes to make the Broodlord 2 OP, so Broodlord changes removed. Tempest damage point change remove. So the Tempest had its damage lowered, I believe. Or was it? No, yeah. Damage lowered, range lowered, but cost lowered. So just kind of like how with the Cyclone, they kind of transformed the unit into a lower tech unit that you produce more of. They did the same thing with the Tempest, but with the range reduction, I guess they're deciding to bring back its damage increase, I guess. And the Liberator change removed, which, like, I mean, it was so absurd. A 56% area increase, and yes, they technically removed the siege range, but because the area is bigger, you siege up from closer, but the range is bigger, so it's like the effective siege up range is the same. I do hope they kind of go back on this change. They just remove the range increase. If you feel like the Liberator is such a huge threat when you get advanced ballistics, that like Mapmaker straight up have to design their maps and design their dead space and their airspace around the Liberator range because of how OP it is. They have to make bases with just a lot of dead space on the ground around the base so that ground units can walk very far back past the mineral line, because otherwise a sieged up Liberator can be sieged up there from so far away that like stalkers can't even reach it and marines can't even reach it and whatever. So I mean, just fucking remove its range increase. Maybe like make it so it shoots slightly faster, right? Like the point is, it's meant to be a siege unit. Make it efficient when it's sieged up, but remove its range. It doesn't need to have a million range. At the end of the day, no matter what range you give it, when you're in a big team fight or whatever, you're fighting within its range and you're getting shot. So maybe make advanced ballistics deal more damage to armor, or just deal more damage, or just shoot faster, or maybe like fuck it, it shoots 2 targets at once. Make it something crazy, right? But yeah, good change to be removed because it was absurd. Other changes. Dash is name not finalized. It has another name in the patch. It's weird. Bonus speed increase, which is nice because, as I mentioned earlier, if you kind of forget to use the ability as a low level, it just means your Hydras are slower and are gonna get across the map slower and just rotate slower and everything. But now it's a targeted ability, similar to like you might remember in the campaign how like Kerrigan dashes around, or fucking not Zeratul, the other guy, Artanis dashes around. So yeah, it's like you target and then you dash in that direction, kind of like how you blink, right? And you like how you blink, so it's kind of like a blink, but it goes faster. So it's nice once again to split. It's no longer increase the speed boost and then split each individual unit. It's just dash in a direction and you go crazy. Lurker health decrease, which is nice, but Lurker range increase, which is kind of crazy. Once again, going by the fact that this is meant to be a patch that was trying to remove camping, an increased range on a siege unit kind of goes against that. But then again, Lurkers are not very often used defensively. When you have a Lurker defensively, it's kind of just there because you want it sieged up so you don't accidentally move it with your army, and it kind of catches run-bys sometimes. But then again, like if the run-by is micro well enough, they deal with the Lurker and that's it. So the range increase is going to be mainly used on offense, so that's a nice change. And the health decrease, it's not that significant that like it dies to 1 less snipe from a ghost, but 10 HP just means it's going to be slightly weaker to kind of compensate for that, that when units kind of run at the Lurker, they're going to get 1 shot less before the worker fights back because they're going to be in the range of the Lurker longer, so that's pretty nice. Next up, missile turret salvage removed. Good. It made no sense to consider this a change that would promote a less campy playstyle. Terrans would just spam missile turrets everywhere with the prospect of just getting rid of those that became obsolete for only a net loss of 25 minerals, which is absurd, right? So that's a good change to be removed. Blue flame change removed. Yeah, blue flame Hellions became so OP that Hellion builds into Hellbat just they made no sense. You could do one-shot links so early in the game, one-shot workers so early in the game. If they want the blue change to be more potent, maybe they need to like make so it recharges faster or whatever. Like it didn't make sense. Or maybe make it something crazy, like you can straight up research it from the reactor straight up, right? Because the whole point is that if you get a tech lab, then there's no point getting Hellions. If you get a tech lab, instead of getting 2 Hellions at once, you're only getting 1. So maybe like, yo, fuck it, make it a reactor research. That'd be kind of crazy. And then Spinecrawler changes removed. The Spinecrawler changes made it so it dealt more damage straight up. Instead of dealing bonus damage against armored, it just dealt its bonus damage against everyone for an effective like I guess it was like 16% damage increase or something. And yeah, it had its health removed, its health nerfed. So I guess that nerf is removed. And yeah. What did they say? We believe that the Spinecrawler adjustment is a risky change, and it would lead to proxy hatchery strategies. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because it was just higher DPS. And when you have your queens to heal and back up, the HP nerf doesn't really mean anything because your limiting factor is queen energy and not max health. So yeah, good change, good nerf. Yeah, that's it. So, full change log. Let's go over it real quick. Nexus shield battery recharge and replaced with a blah 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 blah. Shield battery is getting a slight buff to compensate for no more thing. A stalker training decrease, but only from the gateway. Colossus has its shield and HP changed, so it has less shield and more HP. Tempest are costing less supply, have less range, but now deal the same damage. Immortal costs less, but have slightly lower DPS by shooting slower. Disruptor have an increase in range, but lower damage, except in TVT, where they deal the same damage with a bonus damage against shield. The Mothership now costs 100 mineral more, 100 gas more, and 2 more supply, but is now considered like a colossal unit that can't be targeted against Abduct. And as mentioned previously, it shoots a 4 different target individually as opposed to like 6 times the same target. It's like 4 times an attack that deals 6 damage split against 4 different units. Cyclones are getting back to its old Cyclone that it was pretty much on release. Salvage you can no longer salvage the turrets, but salvage can be cancelled by taking damage. And the enemy can see the salvage damage, which is nice. Planetary Fortress has been reduced, armor reduction from 2 to 2, which will promote just a less campier playstyle. Sensor Tower costs a lot less, but has a much smaller radius, which means you get less of a warning when the opponent comes in, but it's easier to place like 1 or 2 to create kind of like an ass shape instead of a big circle that can be kind of like on the sides. And it can be salvaged. They kept that you can salvage it. When you call down a supply depot, you will bring your supply to full health. The Ghost costs 1 more supply. The tank now deals more damage against everything, but the same damage against light. And the Thor now has a bigger splash radius, but the damage scales with the splash distance. So before, this was the splash damage, but now from further away where you would normally not hit, you deal a portion of the damage. You deal 75% in this kind of inner circle around the bigger circle, the smaller circle, and in this outer circle you deal 50% of the damage, but the range of explosives payload has been reduced to compensate. The Queens will cost 25 more minerals, but the Hatch will cost 25 less. Spore Crawlers still have their damage increase and health decrease. Now only the Spine Crawler has had that change reversed. Heal, yeah, they call it Frenzy Heal. They call it Dash earlier, but they call it Frenzy here. Increases the speed slightly, but you dash in a direction. It's going to be a bigger speed increase, but you dash similarly to how you blink. And now the speed upgrade is going to provide less speed to compensate for this bonus speed when active. The Infestor, when casts a Microbial Shroud, the Shroud will stick to the unit, so the unit can then split off and don't have to stay in the Shroud, where previously you could just spend a Storm on it and just kind of nullify the damage reduction because you would still in a Storm. Ultralisk can now push units, so they have a priority when getting units out of the way. And they have a speed decrease, as mentioned previously, to go around it. And then these are just bug fixes. The bug fixes don't really matter, but I want to point one out once again. Command Center, Nexuses, and Hatchery auto-rally to mineral fields. We want more changes like this. We want changes that make the game more accessible at a low level. This is a great change. They could, like, fuck it, make something like, yo, you could set up a rally, like you can build like the flag, and when you build a flag, every unit automatically rallies to the flag without you telling you to. That'd be a pretty nice change. There's just like one less click to worry about, and when in the heat of the moment, you forget that one click to rally your workers there. And then you look back on it 10 minutes later and you have like 10 AFK workers. You have depression. But that's a nice change. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Super glad these changes have been changed. You know, change the changes, right? They were ass, but they listened to the community. And shout out to those who broke the NDA to leak that inside the balance console, there's a lot of corruption with players just wanting changes to make their race better and win more. Yeah. Bye-bye, guys. I'll be live in a few maybe, I don't know, depending on when the video comes out, at 6 p.m. EST, because I will be in a tournament that isn't StarCraft 2 related. But I'll be in a tournament. Come check me out on Twitch. If I'm live on Twitch. I don't even know what I'm going to do. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye.